everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you again this week with another episode of my December Doing It speaker series. This is a series that I did last December and I had so much fun. Couldn't believe that it was already December again. So I hurried up and booked all of my favorite leaders that I get the opportunity to work with on a regular basis inside of my leadership table and executive ahead of time programs. And I really wanted to just showcase them and their incredible leadership and the work that they're doing at their organizations and really bringing their powerful and unique leadership styles to the table. So this week we have Laura McFarland. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Stacy.
I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and then we'll just dive right in. But if you have questions as we're chatting, please feel free to put them in the chat and Laura and I will go back afterwards and answer any of your thoughts or questions. And we really, really appreciate the dialogue back and forth.
Great. Well, thank you, Stacy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. My name is Laura McFarland. I work for Gordian. Gordian helps companies. We provide data and technology services for all phases of the building life cycle. So what that means is we help businesses understand their infrastructure needs, their construction needs, and we consult with them so that they know what kind of data they need to get the funding to get capital projects approved. I lead the sales team that focuses on the higher education market. Our customers are facilities directors, chief financial officers, and procurement directors at colleges and universities throughout the United States.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's more.
Oh no, there's just a little more. Our
Okay.
services, we have different verticals. I manage the sales team in higher ed. We help them make their case to invest in their buildings, to take care of their campuses, to help them figure out which buildings need support, which buildings perhaps need to be taken offline. We offer them independent, reliable data so that they can make the hard decisions on how to care for their campuses. So it's very sort of mission driven in a corporation. It's one of the things I like about the company.
I love this so much. Laura and I don't get the opportunity to talk about what the work that she's doing. I had no idea about the impact that they're making like on the physical campuses. So I'm like, oh, this is also my reminder to me as to why I'm doing this series. So I get the chance to connect with each of you in like a different way and really celebrate the leadership and all of the work that you guys are doing. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
So to kick us off, one of the things that I really like for leaders to try on is their leadership style, because as we transition from being seen as a subject matter expert into being seen as a leader, it's really important to be able to articulate what is our unique value proposition. What do we bring uniquely to the leadership table? And so to kick us off, Laura, why don't you share with us your unique leadership style?
Okay. Well, this one, is not it's a tough one because there's all sorts of pat answers. But I will tell you that honestly, I view myself often as support staff, which sounds sort of hysterical, but I support my team. I spend a fair amount of my time removing obstacles in their way. I gather data, I build a lot of consensus across the company, across the different departments, so that they can get their work done. They can offer our customers their best possible solutions tailored to the client's current needs. So allowing the sales team to get their work done. Again, I'm very supportive and really enjoy doing the work it takes so that they can get their work done.
Oh, it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal. I really not to be taken for granted having a leader that truly supports you. And I know you have a lot of evidence in this and the work and that, but it also brings so much value to everything that you're doing as a leader. Did you always want to be a sales executive? Is that something that since you were a young child, you thought, oh, this is what I'm going to do with my life? I'd love to hear about your journey to get here.
I was about 11 years old. No, my goal, as with I'm sure a lot of people, my goal was when I went to college was to graduate from college.
Exactly.
So my goals were modest. I loved college, everything about it. I had a lot of fun, perhaps a little more than I should have. But I did change majors, not anything related to sales. I started engineering, and I came out with psychology and sociology. And so graduating in 4 years was quite an accomplishment. So no, that was not in my mindset. I fell into sales when I worked at an association in DC, and the woman I was working with left. And so the association decided to give me a try and see how I do in the role. And so it worked out well. I was selling print advertising back in the day, and enjoyed working with the customers, and did well. And I worked at a couple different associations, but the straight salary thing for sales got old pretty fast. So now I moved into commission sales, and 6 months after my first move into non-for-profit sales, I was promoted to sales manager to manage one person who needed some direction. So it grew from there. It was print advertising and then web advertising. But I found that I enjoyed leading a sales team more than being an individual contributor myself, and enjoy all of the details involved in leading a team to success.
I love that you went from, the goal is graduating college to now working in higher ed sales. I think that's so perfect. When did you transition into higher education?
It's been 20 plus years. It was 2000. I left a publishing company in the legal field that I'd been in for a while, and moved to a weekly newspaper in higher education in DC, and loved it, and managed the sales team there, and really enjoyed it. And then some of the senior leaders left that company and ended up forming another company, online only this time, so got out of print. And so I moved over with them and spent 10 years growing that startup, and managing all the sales elements within that company, and loved it. And so once, having been in higher education that long, to be able to take advantage of the connections I have, of the interest, just the experience, has been so great. I did work at another association for a few years before this, and made some great relationships there, and came to Gordian it'll be 2 years in February. So,
oh man,
I knew I loved sales. I knew I loved higher education. Being able to keep both of those together was really important.
Yeah, and you also love supporting your team. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I know that it's not always easy, and we have ups and downs as sales executives. Our teams have ups and downs. So how do you lead your team through difficult situations and challenges over the last couple of years in particular?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I was hired during the pandemic, and the position was always going to be remote, which I don't think I would have been interested in. But once having proven I could live through pandemic and working from home, happily took the position. Leading the team has been, I didn't know them. I hadn't met them. That was the big challenge for me. We've had an incredibly successful year this year. So there's been, especially on college campuses, the people that we work with day to day, facilities directors, they never didn't go to campus. They had to go to campus. They have to be on campus, pandemic or not. So it's been interesting. We've done, like everybody else, most of our meetings virtually over the last couple of years. But our people are on the campus supporting that infrastructure. And so the team has continued to do very well. A lot of adjustments, a lot of the last since I've been here, we acquired another company that had been a competitor. So that's been a challenge. We've upgraded some technologies that have also been learning a whole bunch of new ways of doing things. And they've had to get used to me as their sales leader. So we've keeping them motivated, keeping them, they're a very, very experienced group, and really love what they do. Again, very mission driven, to make sure the customers are getting what they need through lean times or not. So, no's never a no, but with pandemic, it definitely put things off. So they form partnerships with their clients, and I formed a bond with my team. So it has been keeping them motivated. Hasn't been that hard. because they really are really in positions that they enjoy, in regions that they understand, working with customers that they have gotten to know, and meeting new ones. So they've come to trust me to support them, like I said, let them do their work and keep the noise, the outside, to a minimum, so that they can focus on what they need to do. And that really motivates them to keep going.
Yeah, I love this because I know that your team is very experienced, and we've all had the leader that inherited an incredibly experienced team and messed it up. So I don't want to minimize the hardness to lead them, because just because it feels easy because you're able to lead through them, it takes an extraordinary leader to be able to do that. And we've all experienced the opposite. And I think that's the best way to kind of look at it, and to really think about the humility that it takes to say, hey, these are the experts. They know more than me technically, but the value that I bring as their leader and the connections that I have managing up and connecting with the rest of the organization is what's going to create the enormous amounts of success for all of us. So I really appreciate that in you, and just want to kind of point that out in the story that you shared.
Thanks.
Yeah, it does.
It's been very positive. I've very much enjoyed it. It's sales. It's fair amount of stress, deadlines and quotas, and but when you've got a great team working with, and also across the company, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. So why do you personally feel motivated to have that voice at the table as a woman in sales leadership in higher education? What drives you to go for more, to support your team even more? Maybe I just answered it, but let us know a little bit more about why you keep feeling inspired to grow your career and advance as well.
Well, I figure that if I'm going to be my team's voice, I need to have a voice. I need to be included, and I need to be heard. They need to be heard. That's through me. So that's my responsibility. They trust me to look out for their best interests and to support their goals. And to do that, I have to go to bat for them. And that means I need to be visible and vocal in a way that lets people know we know what we're doing. We've got this. We need things. We need support ourselves. And to do that, you have to be in a position where you can be heard. You have somebody listening to you. And the company knows I bring years of sales leadership experience with me. And I think I'm keenly aware that my team's success is my success. I think that flows up. And so I am the conduit up. And so they need to be heard, and they trust me to do that.
Yeah, that is so important. It feels like to me like it's your ability to have that voice is bigger than you, right? And so I think a lot of us get kind of caught up as a like, this is a me goal, right? I want to have a voice at the table. I want to have a seat. And really to be able to take that broader perspective and be like, no, this is actually affects my ability to be able to support the team. And so maybe that means I have to schedule a meeting with somebody in another department to get to know them, to make sure that I'm visible so that they understand what we're working on and who I am as a leader and all of those different things. I think that's really important. Perspective, right? It is bigger than you.
It is bigger than me, and they depend on me. And that's what I see my role is supporting them means knowing what's going on within the company, where we fit in, and making sure that we are heard in the proper places. Yeah.
So good. Now, in terms of the broader view of your leadership and what ends up coming with this voice at the table in terms of any sort of external organizations or mentorship or anything that you've been able to do for women, other women in leadership, giving back in those ways, have there been any opportunities that have opened up for you as a result of your leadership?
Yes. This is fun because I didn't really have a choice. I've always been interested in women's education, obviously mine included. But within my family, my mother, my grandmother, my great aunt, they were all members of a philanthropic educational organization called PEO. And so I heard about this, growing up. these were always the ladies. And so I really didn't have a lot of choice. I was going to become a member. And so I did. And PEO is a philanthropic organization that's been around for more than 100 years. I didn't know at the time, got out of college, moved to DC, and it's in most cases a monthly local chapter meeting. And so great, I have a new social group. Love the intergenerationalness of the group, women of all ages and backgrounds. But its core mission is to promote educational opportunities for women. So I just sort of looked at it as an obligation I had to attend and support much more in person than it was anything about financial or any. I didn't work that hard when I first joined the organization, but they provide loans, scholarships, and grants to women for higher education. And so somewhere along the way, I started serving at my chapter level. I was treasurer, secretary, whatever. And then became president of the chapter. Chapter's about 50 women. And then I was asked to serve on the state board of directors. And so that's a 5-year term. And that culminates in you being president. So I was president of the District of Columbia State Chapter in 2019. So lots of opportunities for leadership, lots of connections with the international organization that's based in Des Moines. So it took me for a while, quite a while, to realize how fortunate I was to have been forced into this organization by my mother, my grandma, that does such great work. They've raised more than $235 million in scholarships and grants. It's just, through local chapters, there's about 250,000 women that belong to this organization. So but it's done, chapter by chapter, meeting by meeting, woman by woman. So it's just a very impressive organization. And I moved up to Massachusetts this year, and I will join a Massachusetts chapter one of these days, probably, and keep that active local participation, because it's a lot of great women and it's a lot of friends, but it's also really important mission.
That is so incredible. I love that story. And I know your grandma would be proud. Yeah. I mean, this is I love the intergenerational component,
Yeah.
and then also what the organization is doing. And just like, it's so important. And, the other thing, and I kind of alluded this at the beginning, that there are so many, Laura and I talk very regularly, as I'm sure anybody watching this does, with their team and the people that we see every single day. And we don't ask these bigger questions about what really matters to them, the organizations. I mean, I had to do this interview to then find out about this organization that Laura has been a part of for several generations in her family. And it says so much about her leadership and why she is in that support role as a leader in, today, right? That's how she views leadership. So I encourage everybody to ask, right? Ask, the women or the leaders that you admire so much, that have worked their way into certain positions, that this didn't just happen for them, and really ask them about their journey and inquire. And that's all part of changing the leadership table, that we inspire each other, that we give back, that we grow together as one. We're not here. It's not one for all for one, right? This is a collective of leadership, and we're all changing and adapting accordingly. So I appreciate that in you, Laura. Thank you for being an example.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back again next week at the same time, same place, LinkedIn Live. I have several more interviews lined up for you to celebrate women leaders who are doing it, who are changing their organizations from the inside out. And Laura, thank you again very much for being here with us this week. Take care.
Love being here. Thank you.